Hi there, my name is Nicole Zuniga. I am doing a review on Read, Write, Think for Colorado Christian University SED 580. First off, let me start by defining assistive technology. Assistive technology, as defined by the IDEA of 2014, is any item, piece of equipment, or product system, whether acquired commercially or off the shelf, modifies or customized, that is used to increase, maintain, or improve the functional capabilities of children with disabilities. As special educators, we want to find that technology that allows our students to access the general education classroom with minimal or no frustration at all, and that aligns to standards to allow teachers to maintain a universal design for learning within their classrooms. Now, writing can be hard for anybody, but imagine having a disability to where it impairs you, so where maybe you have problems with phonemics, or maybe you have issues with conventions, or maybe you just have trouble with processing and have a hard time getting your thoughts and ideas down onto paper. I experience this daily with my students, and I was reading through chapter 2 of Tompkins on page 179. It says in there, "I don't like to write. It's hard, and it hurts my brain to think so hard." This was a statement taken by one of their students from a study. Many of my students say the very same thing. Writing can be difficult, and not only for people with disabilities, but just for anybody. I know for me sometimes it's hard to get started, and I try to think about my students when they're starting their writing process and how difficult that must be for them to take all that they have to say and put it down onto paper. Now more than ever, we want teachers to focus on universal design for learning, and as defined by the UDL Center of 2012, UDL is a set of principles for curriculum development that give all individuals equal opportunities to learn within the classroom settings. Now, as general educators and as special educators, it's important for us to collaborate with one another to put our focus into the rigor and the growth of not only our students with no disabilities, but our students with disabilities. I know in the mild moderate setting that I work in right now, my focus is to make the lives of my students, as well as my general educators, easier. And a lot of times we sit down and we talk about UDL and how can we use some of the things that my special education students need, and put that into a general education classroom. So just focusing on that scaffolding and a differentiation for all students. Now we're going to dive in deep to Read, Write, Think. Read, Write, Think's mission is to provide educators, parents, and after-school professionals with access to the highest quality practices in reading and language arts instruction by offering the very best in free materials. Now, free being the key word. As teachers, we all love to hear the word free. And when I first discovered this site and found out all their materials were accessible for free, I was very excited to put this into use in my classroom and introduce this to general education teachers as well. One of the other important things that I've noticed about Read, Write, Think is that it's standards aligned. It not only follows the IRA and CTE standards for English language arts, but it's also Common Core standard aligned. And a lot of states have switched over to Common Core standards. So this is a great tool for any classroom, not just a special education classroom. Going back to that piece where many of my students have said writing is hard. You know, it's a struggle for them. They don't enjoy it because it is so hard, and it's sad to hear them say that writing is so hard. Read, Write, Think allows teachers and students to have access to interactive and printable outlines or graphic organizers that are aligned to various Common Core state standards. Students have access to this material 24/7. They can access it at home when they need to work on it. They can access it sometimes on phones or tablets, Chromebooks, computers. It's always there. And like I said before, it's free. One of the biggest things I found is Read, Write, Think Note Taker. It is a great way for my middle school students to have access to simplified notes within their classroom. A lot of my kids struggle with notes taking and on top of phonemic issues. So when they're able to use a Chromebook and able to use a note taker that helps them organize their thoughts, it's fantastic. I've seen their writing, their judgment of writing completely change, and not to mention the way they study, because now they have these neat and organized notes that they can read and they can process their way through as they're studying. Student interactives allow students to access various graphic organizers through the use of computers or tablets. Sometimes you can even access it on your phone, like I said earlier. The benefits to this assistive technology, this software, this web design, essentially, is that it puts less focus on spelling. When students are using computers, there's always spell check, or there's always some kind of word prediction software if you're using a tablet that allows the student to focus less on, all right, how do I spell this word, and focus less on organization as well. When you use this software, it's very detailed. It even provides descriptions throughout the entire graphic organizer process, and so it allows the kids to spend less time organizing their thoughts and more time to focus on that content, more time to focus on putting back into it what they've learned, which is what we want to see essentially. So this is just an example of one of the many type of graphic organizers that is accessible via Read, Write, Think. It's called an essay map, and it does exactly as it says. It is a graphic organizer for a essay, whether it be narrative or whether actually I think there is a different narrative graphic organizer. This essay map is more for the expository assignment. So they open up with having a introduction piece at the very top of this, what seems to be a diamond, and as you drop down you can see the arrows that connect to what they are supposed to do next, and it's even strictly labeled Idea 1. And then as they drop down even further, they can input supporting details underneath each one of their main ideas. In that supporting detail box, they're allowed at least 3 supporting details. The boxes do expand, so there's really no written word limit, which is fantastic. And as I said before, there is access to spell check or word prediction depending on the device. Then once they're done with the third row of the supporting ideas, they can jump down and finish off their graphic organizer with a conclusion statement. They pretty much just put all of their ideas into this graphic organizer, click finish in the bottom right hand corner of the screen, and then the essay map pops out as their own personal graphic organizer, providing them visualizations the whole way through where their thoughts should go. Here you can see on the right hand side the finished product, which is the essay map. Like I said, very organized, takes out the organization factor for the students. Just the graphic organizer, the generator itself, pretty much points the student where to go with their idea next. It is printable, it is savable, it is shareable, which is another important thing to look at when we're having these students organize their thoughts online. They can print it and give it to a teacher, print it and put it in their backpack so they can finish off their rough draft later. They can save it to their desktop just in case they didn't get all the way through their graphic organizer. But they can also share it to themselves with a teacher. Just a simplification of ways to do individual work. I've found that students are highly engaged when when using these graphic organizers via the computer. They love clicking through each box and being able to just go back and easily change, easily edit their graphic organizer if they've seen a mistake, or if they want to put a thought in a different place, or add a different supporting detail in a different place. It's very easy for them to go through and organize. One of the other things that I love more about the Read Write Think website is that it doesn't just offer essay map or graphic organizers. It offers graphic organizers for brochures, which once again cuts out the organization time for our students and allows them to just get down to the content, get down to showing us what they have learned. It's very simplified. Once again, students are very engaged because they get to access the computer, they get to research online, they get to add pictures. It's very fun for them. It cuts down pretty much on the assignment time. It takes a few times to show students how to use it, where to find things, and where to locate pictures and how to research. But when it comes down to them designing their brochure, it allows them to just focus on what they want to put in it rather than where things should go. So in conclusion, this Read Write Think software, or website for that matter, is one of the best tools that I've found, not only for my special education students, but for general education students as well, and for teachers, really. When you can, or if you can, have access to computers or tablets within your classroom, this program is a great way to simplify not only graphic organizers, but to simplify research-based projects, which is what we want students to focus on as they grow older and get into higher grades. A lot of those standards are focused on the research-based information, and it allows our students to cut down on the editing time because they do have they do have spell check. Special education students, some of them have word prediction softwares. Not only that, but a lot of computers these days also have conventions checks where they look at conventions and grammatical errors as well. Like I said, it's standards based. A lot of the content on this Read Write Think website is standards based, which allows teachers to easily connect their ideas to each one of these interactive maps for their students. And it also focuses on the universal design for learning, which a lot of educators and a lot of schools are focusing on. Not just reaching one group of kids, reaching out and make sure that we're providing sheltered, scaffolded, and differentiated instruction for an entire classroom, and sometimes that can mean up to 30 kids for some teachers. So this is a great tool to have in a general educator tool bank and a special educator tool bank as well. I just think back and reflect on what God has given us, and God has given us this amazing technology to improve those with disabilities and help them realize that just because there is one single limitation, it can't hold you back. God has given us such a great tool, and God has given us such great strength to reach through and fight through these obstacles, if you will. And this is just another way for students to do that. Thank you for your time, and have a great day.